Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to this Twins Talk show we got going on. And today's video is going to be kind of interesting because in the past we've talked about how the Twins have struggled with their pitching. It's probably their weakest link. Go check out that video if you haven't already. It's on my channel. Go check that out. But basically we've talked about how the Twins have really struggled with pitching, both starting and throughout the game in the bullpen. Tomorrow I will give you guys a bunch. I have 3 videos planned tomorrow about the bullpen. Come back for those. But basically in this video, we are going to be talking about the lowest risk players that the Twins could still go pick up off free agency that, we could probably get for very cheap, and they could produce possibly some big numbers. So let's just jump into it. We have 2 players in particular I'm going to talk about in this video. And then another one I'm going to talk about later tonight, and that is Irving Santana. And the reason I'm separating those videos is because he was a Twin last year, went to free agency. I'll tell you why we should or should not pick him up tonight. So let's jump into the first guy. And the first guy I'm going to talk about is Marco Estrada. Let me tell you, this guy, he came onto the scene pretty hot in Toronto a couple of years ago. He's been in the league since 2008. Came in at 24. He didn't do too hot in the first couple of years, but he came on in 2015 for the Blue Jays and really did well. They were kind of in the midst of a playoff run in that season, and he stepped up and was one of their better pitchers with Stroman. He was, towards the end of that run, but Stroman and Estrada, and then there was Hutchinson, a couple other guys. They did well, they pitched well, and they kind of all fell off the table, to be honest, and that's why the Blue Jays have been rebuilding since then. But if you look at his season, 2015, when he jumped in to the Blue Jays uniform, he went 13-8 with a 3.3 or 3.13, ERA. He started 28 games. He did pretty well. Like I said, his ERA right around that 3 mark, so that's pretty good. He pitched 181 innings, and he only gave up 134 hits in that season, so giving up less than a hit per inning. He struck out 131 guys, so again, not quite a strikeout per inning. However, with the ERA where it was, and that was his all-star, that was his Cy Young contending season. He finished 10th there, but that was a solid first year in Toronto. Then the next year he went 9-9. He was an all-star that season. Pitched 176 innings. ERA again 3.5. 29 games. Struck out 165, so just about a strikeout per inning there. And he was doing well. The next 2 years, he did finish with a 9-9 record there, like I said. So not exactly where he probably wanted to be in terms of wins and losses, but still producing pretty well. And again, you can only control so much as a pitcher. Like I said about Kyle Gibson, he gets 13 to 14 wins, but he also loses 10 games, and that's not all on him. It's more, the production of the offense. You lose 1-0. You only gave up 1 run in 6-7 innings, but, your offense didn't put up any either. So, that's kind of the struggle with the Twins. The Blue Jays, they've been struggling like that, but the last 2 years in Toronto, he went 10-9, 7-14 last year. And that really plummeted his stock. Obviously, you're having a 5 ERA, a 6 ERA, and you're losing 14 games, only winning 10, 7. You're not doing so hot. So let's jump in to why I think this would be a good idea for the Twins to pick up. The Twins, we have starters. We have Gibson, Barrios, Romero, Odorizzi, couple other guys that could step up and be starters. Those guys are starters, and Estrada's a starter. I think if we brought him in as a starter, he'd be, a 4-3 guy maybe, and he'd still be producing this kind of numbers. 10 wins, 10 losses, an ERA about 4. This guy used to be a starter. Like in Toronto, in Milwaukee, where he was, this guy was good, and he was a starter. I think if we were to go pick him up in there, I don't see a reason not to. After his stock is plummeted, we could probably get him for pretty cheap. He's 35, sign him to a year or 2 deal, and get him on the team. put him in the bullpen, and I think Monday I have a fantastic video coming out about a new Twins pitching strategy that I think they should use. I'm going to post that Monday, and he will fit right into this sort of system. So basically, don't have him start the game. Or if you do, have him go 3 innings, 4 innings, whatever. He doesn't have to go much. I really would like to use him as a long reliever. And again, I'll get into more of this in that video on Monday, but if we were to put him in the bullpen and use him as a long reliever, he's got a starter stamina, he's got the starter pitches, he's able to use what he is as a starting pitcher in the bullpen, and that would just make, one, our bullpen stronger. Again, I'll get to more of that tomorrow's video, but it would make our bullpen stronger, and it would also allow him, like Trevor May, he's another guy who was a starter and put in the bullpen, does pretty well. He's got a nice fastball, and it's not the same as a starter coming out of the bullpen. It's literally, you have a guy who can be a starter, but using him in the bullpen would just make him that much stronger. So that is why I think it would be a fantastic idea to go pick up Marco Estrada, but put him in the bullpen. We don't have to use him as a starter. It would just make a lot of sense. And if we got him for cheap, why not? We are so far under the budget. If you haven't seen the video this morning, go check that one out. We are like $30 million under the budget. Even if we signed him to a $5 million deal for 2 years, that'd be fantastic. So next up, and probably more importantly, Clay Buchholz. And like I just said, the Twins have about 3 to 5 good starting pitchers. They're not great. I mean, Barrios and Gibson probably had a good last season. They're probably 1-2 right now, but Clay Buchholz, who, played for Boston, he was all-star a couple times, finished in the Cy Young running, not a bad player at all. And if the Twins only have 3 to 5 starters, it would be a good idea to pick up Buchholz, either put him on the bench or in the bullpen like Estrada and use him out of the bullpen, or put him in, the rotation, make him a 4 or 5 guy, and he could really step up that way. So let's go through a little bit of his stats really quick. Came in the league in 2007 at 22 years old. First season went 3-1, then 2-9, 7-4. In his all-star season, he went 17-7, had a very good season there. Struck out 120 over 173 innings pitched, only gave up 142 walks, and an ERA of 2.3. That is solid. That's the kind of guy we need to see on our team. But going down a little bit farther, in the 2012 season when Boston was contending, in 2013, 11-8, 12-1, 1.7 ERA, 16 games started, one complete game shutout, in fact. Had 96 strikeouts over 108 innings and 75 hits given up. This is a guy who, again, doesn't need to overpower somebody, doesn't need to strike out somebody, doesn't need to basically put the team on his back. He relies on his defense, and the Twins, like I've said in the past videos, have got a good defense, and they just need to get the bats going a little bit more. And I think they can do that with the team they have this season, what they've been working on. But Clay Buchholz previously has been great. Again, fell off just a little bit in a couple of seasons, 2015, 16, and 17. Was hurt and just didn't play as well, but got traded to Arizona and Philly. He went 7-2 last season with a 2.1 ERA, 16 games again, 98 innings pitched, 80 hits, and 81 strikeouts. This is a guy who is probably not the most, like I said, electrifying pitcher, but he's a guy that will go in there and do a job. 2 ERA last season with a 7-2 record, and the contending Arizona team. This is a guy who's been in the position before, back at Boston, continued it. While he had some rough patches, he's able to figure it out. And again, if we could bring him in to Minnesota, put him in the starting rotation if you want, he's going to do solid. If you put him in the bullpen, take that stuff that he knows as a starter, a good fastball, just able to have the stamina, the pitch types, selection, knowledge as a veteran coming in at 33 years old. He's not too old, but he's not, a rookie anymore where he's super confident. He knows what it's like to be in the league. and to put him either as a starter or in the bullpen in this new Twins pitching strategy that they could use. Well, they're not going to, but if they were to use it, I think could really, really work as, a long bullpen reliever or even a good starter towards the back of the rotation, depending on how you want to use Barrios, Gibson, Odorizzi, how well he does. So that is my advice for the Twins on what they should do. Go pick up either Clay Buchholz or Marco Estrada. Like I said, you could probably get them for super cheap, and I think they could produce just as well as anyone else. If they're still available by the end of the week, it wouldn't hurt to go take another pitcher. And, John Curtis in the bullpen's not doing very hot, so I would maybe get rid of him. And we could do that in a trade, maybe. I'm just saying. But, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go pick up one or both of these guys for a season or two, see how they do, and if not, just send them back. So that's just my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. I thought I made some pretty good points in this video for you guys to debate or discuss in the comments. So let me know what you guys think about Clay Buchholz, Marco Estrada, or the rest of the pitching rotation, maybe in the bullpen. Where do you want to see these guys, or even another free agent? Who else do you want to see on the Twins in the starting rotation to try to make that weakest link more strong? So that is all I got for you today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will check you guys out in the next one tonight on Irving Santana.